All right, guys, welcome to episode number 7. In this episode, we're going to talk about opportunities in disguise and how no one is coming to save you. Let's dig into the details.
All right, so we are talking about opportunities in disguise and how it seems like the people who are in search of the opportunities, the ones who like speak it into existence of like what they're looking for, are the ones that typically find them, you know? And like a quick story, when I was making the transition from single family real estate to commercial real estate, I distinctively remember like going to a couple of meetups and events and talking about wanting to buy apartment complexes, which is what we buy now. I was talking about wanting to buy them before I actually owned them. And it led to my first deal because somebody who I was having a conversation with, and this was months later, called me and said, "Hey, I remember you mentioning you wanted to buy apartments. I have this deal and I don't know what to do with it." And I was like, and that ended up being the first apartment complex, the little 14 unit that I closed on and it was because I was talking about the opportunity. And that's a lot about how opportunity works. Is you have to have the courage to speak it into existence. And honestly, when you see like a crack in the door, you have to have the courage to walk through it and know that, you need to constantly be preparing yourself for opportunities because luck is just when preparation meets that opportunity. And I think I'd love to hear your take on how you view opportunities and where you think people are falling short. And the ones who constantly say like, I can't catch a break, or I'm not getting that, I don't get lucky, or, what does that look like for you?
Yeah. So who we're talking about are those that think they're always a few steps behind that next deal, right? Because they're not prepared. And that's what we mean when we talk about, the opportunities in disguise. And, hear people say, well, Chad's just lucky. Or, one of my close friends, he was actually, I've known him since 4th grade, still my closest friend. He's like, "Oh, you always get so lucky. Things just work out for you." Yeah. Well, first of all, they don't always work out. Like I've had challenges just like everyone else, like failures, all of the stuff, setbacks, all of the stuff. Mm-hmm. But, what it comes down to is you have to be prepared for when that opportunity is there so you can grab it. You can take advantage of it. Yeah. And, in one of my businesses, and we talked a little bit about crypto. Yeah. We spent like at times too much time like looking into crypto opportunities and like, we got into some masterminds and we did some things like that. Yep. And we found that we had like a certain amount of capital allotted for, when this next opportunity comes, right? And we knew enough in the crypto space to be dangerous, but we were not a practitioner, I would say. And so whenever those opportunities came, we weren't set up for it, right? Like we weren't ready to pull the trigger into the right project, right? Or into, whatever that opportunity might be. So as an example of when we didn't do that, we were not prepared because we weren't experts in the space, right? But I just think that there are a lot of people out there, even in crypto, where they're like, "Oh man, whoever it is, Mike just got lucky on this one project.
He bought a bunch of Dogecoin.
Yeah, he went to the Doge and whatever." But I guarantee you, he probably did a boatload of research and was ready once the opportunity came. So crypto is a whole nother world. That's not really like what we're talking about. But, in sales and in deals, when things come available, like in real estate, right, in your market, like you guys have to be uber prepared for any opportunity that comes your way. Yeah. And if you're not in a place to take advantage of it, you lose it. And so then you're in that spot where you're like always one step behind. You're always one step behind. And I feel like people get caught in that loop and then they just think, well, I don't have that kind of luck. I'm never going to make it. Yeah. That's why.
In my world, it looks like, when we talk about opportunities coming across our desk, like it's, for me, it's about having the partners in place and the capital in place and the investors in place to take down a deal when a deal comes. Mm-hmm. Because if you have, a broker presents you a $20 million off market property and you got to come up with, $6-7 million to close it, right? If you don't feel confident that you've done enough preparation with relationship building that you can make a few phone calls and get $6 or $7 million, you are not going to even see that opportunity. Number one. Number two, you're not going to make an offer on it, or you're not going to, submit an LOI or anything like that because you don't feel confident in your ability. And I think the other thing too, when it comes to, opportunities and which ones to say yes to, that is also tricky because if you say yes to every opportunity, you've heard that old adage, you say yes to everything, you're actually saying like no to a lot of things, right? And I think which opportunities you say no to are far more important than the ones you say yes to. And when you become successful, you find that you say no a lot more, and you have to turn down a lot more things, because you have to be selective with your time. And we're going to talk a lot about time and how to put a very high value, like a monetary target on your time and what you're willing to spend your time on. And I don't think enough people are really holding that standard to the highest value. Is like, don't look at your time and what you're making per hour now. Look at your time and what you want to make per hour, and then don't do anything that is sub that number. Like if I want to make $5,000 an hour, right? Anything that I can do for anything that is less than $5,000 an hour, I'm going to hire out and start like putting that value on it.
I'm curious. Didn't mean to interrupt you, but something you said there's like massively important, because before about 2 years ago, I never really thought about it this way, but you said $5,000 an hour. Is that your mark currently?
I'm at 3.
You're at 3.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that. Okay. So I had someone ask me during a coaching session, shocker, we were doing this like long, arduous hike, and we finished the hike. I'm pretty exhausted, and so is he, but we're just talking business and life and opportunity. So he stops and he's like, hey, if I were to ask you what you're worth per hour, what's your answer? At the time, okay, numbers are numbers. They don't lie.
Yeah.
I said $400 an hour.
Yeah.
This was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. The number is substantially more now, but it caused me like to think back on that and reflect, okay, where's he coming from with that?
Yeah.
Right. So to bring that full circle, you mentioned something about relationships and opportunities, and these relationships that you've built will put you into the right opportunities. Like they're going to keep coming to you.
Yeah.
Like people that, the people that are listening to this, they're like, well, Chad just has all of this that's happened, or this has fallen in line for Houston. But I would challenge that. And that is, relationships have been built over time that provide credibility to you and to your brand and to who you are as a person, as a human.
Yep.
Right. And so those opportunities are going to continue to come to you because of the relationships that you've built over time.
Yep.
Right. And same is true for myself. I've had different business partners in the past where they're like, well, I didn't get that deal, or why didn't they ask me about that product? Because we have an opportunity to like bring on different products at different times, and specifically in the medical space. And it's like, well, it's because I've built a brand for myself in terms of what I'm going to deliver to the client. Right. And so it used to be this, like, the value behind my time was $400. Well, I elevated that because of what you just said. I need to set a new standard.
Yep.
Now I got to meet that standard. Got to do the work to get to that standard.
Yep.
Right. And you'll find that you get that. So now it's like the opportunities that come in front of me are no longer $400 an hour opportunity.
Yeah.
Right.
There it is.
So there's a shift.
Yep. The universe is responding to your stimulus of raising your standard.
There's a shift.
The universe is responding. I think you hit the nail on the head with building a brand that has that value, because you can't just like become an entrepreneur, start off and then start charging $50,000 an hour. But you look at a guy like Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins' private coaching is $1 million, right, for 1 year of coaching, and that is one coaching call per month.
Yeah.
Is $1 million, and he has like a 70-person wait list to get on it.
Yeah.
Like Richard Branson charges $300,000 for 1 hour of his time to sit down with him. $300,000 to sit down with that man for 1 hour. So when you think about this, like, the time is the most valuable asset when you start to value your time more than the money, right? Yeah. And it takes a long time to get there, and you have to build up the skills first and build that brand for yourself before you can go out and kind of command that income for your time. And I think that kind of segues into a great point that, like, nobody is going to come build it for you.
Yeah.
That's one, we talked about this early on in the podcast. One of the biggest misnomers is that, you hire a coach or something and the work is just going to get done. Like, nobody is coming to save you.
Yep.
Nobody is coming to do it for you. If you pay me $3,000 for an hour of my time, that's for me to kickstart you in the right direction, and give you the tools and techniques to go out and execute.
Yeah.
But that's not me coming to execute for you. And that's where I think a lot of people miss is it's that nobody is coming to execute on your goals and your dreams. nobody cares, honestly. I hate to say it, but you know, if you're this little, you know, this little fluffy snowflake and you want people to just come and believe in you and say, you're amazing, you're going to do so many things and all these opportunities are going to come in abundance, you know, and you just sit on the couch and visualize money and everything and you never go out and do anything, you're going to be sitting on the couch for a while.
Yeah.
And those sideline folks that are constantly watching the players play and watching the game, who never actually get in the fight, start to get bloody, get marred. You know, I remember when I was charging $150 an hour.
Yeah.
You know, and you just kind of work your way up from there. And then you start to realize, man, you know, the other cool thing about when you get into coaching, and coaching, I think one aspect of it, is when you're evaluating a coach, figuring out what amount of their time they're actually spending. Because for me, like less than 10% of my income and 10% of my time comes from coaching.
Yeah.
Because 90% of the time I'm out doing it.
Yeah.
I'm out doing what I make so much more money doing a big real estate deal than I do coaching someone on how to do a big real estate deal. Now, I get a lot, and I know you're the same way because we're both givers. Like that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Like we're honestly giving our time,
which
we've both said is valuable,
right?
We're giving our time to be lighthouses for this message. And I think it's just, it's super critical to realize that, I get so much more when I watch somebody else succeed based on information that I gave than if I'm succeeding myself. It's huge. How cool is it when a student or somebody takes the information that you give and they go out and they win with it?
It's the best feeling.
When I see somebody in my coaching group, they close a deal. Like I will run into my wife's office and I will say, babe, these people, they just got one, and she knows who they are because we have a very intimate coaching group. She knows who, and I'm like pumped. They just got a deal. Boom. The next day, like we'll close one or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey babe, we sold one of our assets. And I'm just like, it's cool.
This happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those, you know, circling back to like the opportunities and the fact that you have to kick down the doors yourself, and the opportunities, you know, they may be behind doors that you have to pay to get through. A lot of times they are, which is why, you know, in previous podcasts, we talk about skilling up and investing in yourself and using money to multiply your skills and increase your value so you can get in those rooms. Because now I'm in rooms with, you know, we're in rooms with hectomillionaires, decamillionaires, like people who are talking. I'm not in too many rooms with billionaires yet, but I'll get there soon. But they're just talking about different opportunities. Like they're not talking about 5-figure deals, 6-figure deals. They're minimum 7-8-figure deals that they're talking about. And what you realize is they're the same problems, that they're just bigger numbers. Like it takes the same amount of energy to do a $100,000 deal that it does to do a $10 million deal. It's just extra zeros. And in order to get those opportunities, you got to get in different rooms. Yeah.
I mean, as an example, even in this room now, you know, there's people that are helping us like put on this podcast, and in between, you know, sitting here and recording and talking shop with you, I just learned of a new opportunity. Why? It's just putting yourself in the room with different people, like-minded people. And again, like people that are talking about opportunities and talking about things moving forward. They're not talking about, I don't even talk about what I did last month. It's done. It's over. Who cares? Right? Like pat yourself in the back, definitely enjoy the moment and enjoy a win, celebrate the win, but then you got to move on. Right? Otherwise, you're going to be the guy who's stuck in the loop where opportunities are going by you and you're sitting on the sidelines, to reference your point earlier, going, man, Titan Group got this deal. I didn't even see it. Why? Right? Like,
well, they're not even asking why. They're just feeling sorry for themselves.
Right.
Yeah. But, dude, you hit something, the nail on the head here, and that I want to drive home is he talked about getting out of the wrong rooms. We talk about getting in the right rooms a lot, and that's kind of like get in the right room, who you surround yourself. But a lot of times what people aren't willing to do is get out of the wrong rooms.
Dude.
And that is the hardest part, man, because a lot of times the wrong rooms are filled with family, they're filled with friends, they're filled with, you know, and they're filled with people that are, you know, it's that crab mentality, right? You're trying to get out of the bucket. And the crab mentality is if you put a bunch of crabs in a bucket and one of them tries to climb out, the other crabs will grab it and pull it back down into the bucket. And it's hard to disbelieve a lot of stuff that maybe you've been ingrained in and get out of those rooms. But I think the ability to get out of them and get into new rooms is, I mean, it's massively important, and people aren't willing to do it because it's uncomfortable.
It's tough. Yeah.
It's tough.
That's why it's tough.
Yeah.
I've been there, and it's tough because sometimes you're in those rooms, whether it's family or friends or partnerships, could be any of the above. Sometimes you're in those rooms at the time and it served you at that time.
Yes.
Right. But going back to consciousness and awareness, it might not still be serving you.
Yep.
So if you can be aware of that, right, sit still, reflect, know that, understand it, and then have the courage to make the move.
Yep.
Dude, it's huge. So
Huge.
great point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Massively. And guys, get in bigger rooms, find bigger
Bigger
opportunities.
rooms, find smarter people, find people that have done something you have not, and then find a way to do it.
And if you have the wherewithal to pay to get around them, pay to get around them. And if you don't, develop some skills like we talked about earlier and figure out how to get the money then to pay to get around them.
Yeah.
You know?
And to your point earlier in another podcast, it doesn't necessarily have to be always money, to get into that room.
There you go.
Sometimes it's what can I offer you? What can I do? What would be of value?
Go work for free.
Right? What can I help you do?
Yep.
Right? Because usually there's something that, I may have like a skill set that's going to help someone who's already in that room. And let's say I can't afford to financially buy my way into that room, but I bet there's something that I can offer him or her that he or she doesn't have.
Yeah. 100%.
Right. And then boom, you're in the room.
Yeah.
You just have to think differently.
What do you have? Do
Right.
they need deals? Do they need video support, marketing? Could you handle their social media channels? Like,
Right.
what can you do
Whatever it
for
is.
free
Yeah.
just to get around them?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people need to be doing more of that.
Absolutely.
Right? I would be willing to work for free.
Yeah.
Because the opportunity is worth way more than the paycheck.
Yeah.
And people are like too concerned about getting a direct compensation for their time that they give versus seeing that time as an investment
Wow.
and then trading it for long-term
Yeah.
opportunities.
What might this yield long term?
Yep.
Right. Rather than today or next week.
Yeah, that's the investor mindset. And
Yeah.
you got to have that. You need to have that mindset if you're going to be successful. And that's with your time. Like, where are you investing your time? My wife makes fun of me. So it's a quick story. If we're ever having a conversation, maybe we're at an event or something, and we get in a conversation with a couple people or something like that, and they start talking about something that is not about like in a growth. They like talk about start talking about a football game. So I'll leave.
Yeah.
I'll walk away from the conversation. My wife makes fun of me.
You're like,
I
I'm
exit.
out.
I
I'm
exit.
bored.
We'll be sitting like somewhere, and people will be talking, and they're just talking about something that's not interesting. Maybe they're gossiping about people, talking about celebrities or the football game or some other like something. I get up and leave.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
Like in my core, I can't fucking do it.
Not
I can't
interested.
sit there and
Yeah.
I can't bullshit.
Yeah.
If you're not talking about, and it's not that I don't want to have conversations with people. It's just, if you're not talking about getting better, growing, businesses, family, spirituality, like love, spreading love and joy and abundance, and like what you're creating right now, where you're going, your visions, your goals, things like that, businesses you're building, deals you're doing, whatever it is, like if it's not in the forward mindset, I can't do it. Because I've created that standard for myself that I'm not going to engage in that kind of conversation.
Yeah. I love it. Same.
Yeah.
It took a while to get there, but same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And you'll get, I'm just preparing as you guys step into this. Most of you guys are probably already like, you're resonating with what we're saying, and you probably a lot of people nodding, right? Like I can't talk about that kind of stuff anymore, all that good stuff. Just know that you are going to be met with resistance from your friends, from potentially family and loved ones.
Yeah.
You're going to be met with resistance when you try to step out of those situations and put yourself in other rooms. People will call you names. They'll call you, narcissistic, greedy, money hungry, like all those kinds of things you're going to get called.
Yep.
So just be prepared for it, and just understand that, someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality.
Yeah.
And when it's tied to a bigger why, none of that stuff's going to matter anyway. It's going to all fall on deaf ears. So just keep pressing forward and get into better rooms.
100%.
Yeah, that's where the opportunities are.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So on this next one, we are diving into how happiness is an inside job, and we're going to talk a lot about what that means. Like happiness is this subjective. Like, what does it mean to be happy?
Yeah.
And it ties a lot into success. The second episode we did was about success, and we really want to dive into happiness.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.